Everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. Welcome in. Today we're going to be working with this beautiful designer series paper called Thoughtful Journey. It is a 6x6 pack, 48 sheets, and it is stunning paper. This is the card that we're going to make, and this was my prototype, and you can see it has acetate, so it's a little bit of a shaker card. See my little ditties in there moving around. Didn't do anything on the inside, but that's all ready to go where we could write a message or stamp a sentiment. But it is a really cute card. You could do some extra things on here if you wanted to put some texture on it, and we may do that on the next card. I'm also going to choose a different color palette. So just to kind of show that we can kind of up our game a little bit. So I'm going to lay this one over to the side. And let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, we're going to be using this paper, and I chose this particular design. There are so many different designs in this pack that your options are just limitless. Look at all those beautiful, beautiful colors. That was the one I used on the card that I just did, the prototype. But you can see there are so many different patterns and flowers and different things. So let your imagination run wild. Pick up this pack of paper. You will not regret it. And I think you'll enjoy everything that it does. All right, we're going to lay this to the side. You're also going to need some tear and tape. And I have my roll right there. You're also going to need the adhesive strips. And they look like this. They come in a pack. You get quite a few, and they're the foam adhesive strips. And what this will do, it allows you to run these around the edges of your shaker piece so that it lifts it up so your pieces will move around. And I'll show you all how to do that as we get going. I also have one of the squares from the Stylish Shape dies, and I have the one that's next to the largest. We're going to use that to cut our window. I also have the 1, 2, 3, 4th circle from the largest, and we're going to use that for our sentiment. Now, let me tell you a little secret here. I stamped this happy birthday after I had put this card together on the blue, and it did not take all the way because I have it had dimension on some areas and not on others. So when I stamped it down, it was kind of naked in the middle. So I fixed it by cutting a little circle and stamping the same sentiment, happy birthday, and then putting it down with some dimensionals. And you know what? I think I like this better than it's stamped on the paper itself. So we're going to use that as well. Sometimes we have happy accidents, and that was definitely one of them. For my butterfly, I'm using the Labeled with Love stamp set, and I use this little detailed butterfly, and I just stamped it on a piece of the paper that, to get the same coloring. You can see that I didn't color that butterfly, I just stamped it on a piece of paper. So, and that's always fun. All right, with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to have our card base, and that's 8.5 by 5.5, and we're going to bring up our scoreboard and score this at 4 1/4. So I'm going to bring my scoreboard up, put my paper all the way up in that left-hand corner, and then I'm going to come to 4 1/4 and just get a nice score line, just like that, and we have our card base. Now, the next thing we need to do is decide what color we're going to use for our mats. And I think for this one, I'm going to be using a corner of this, maybe right here. I'm going to cut this in half. We'll do that first, and then we'll decide which colors we want to use. So what you want to do is always kind of decide on your designer series paper first, then pull in your coordinating colors. So I'm going to turn this around like this, and I know this is 6 by 6, so I'm going to cut it in half at 3 inches. And I'm going to lay that piece over there. And I know that I want to work with this piece right here. So I'm going to put this back in at 3. And I'm going to cut my piece. Yeah, 3 by 3. And this would be perfect for our butterfly. So there's our piece that's going to show through our window. So now we need to check and see if we want that to be our top or this to be our top. I'm really thinking the lighter one is going to give us a much better feel for what we're doing and pick up the colors better. So I'm going to cut this bottom piece, the mossy meadow. I'm going to cut this for my mat. And this one is going to be 4. About 5 1/4. Just our typical size mat for an A2 size card. And then that will go down on here. Just like that. Now this one needs to be a 1/4 inch less. So we're going to put this one in and cut it at 3 3/4. All these measurements will be on the PDF tutorial that you can find on my blog. So 3 3/4 by 5. And this is the piece we want to cut our square out of using this die. So let's move our trimmer. And I am going to just kind of pretty much eyeball this. Let's see. I'll try to line, this isn't going to line up because it's a little bit smaller. So we're going to line it right about there. And you can decide if you want this up higher or down lower. However you want it, you can make that decision. I'm going to come right about like that. And then I'm going to use one of my Post-it flags to just hold that in place for me. And if you want to, you can come back in with a ruler and you can do a little measurement. And that is about 5/8. Almost 5/8. So that's pretty close. I'm going to leave it like that. It's not bad. So let's go ahead and die cut this piece. And looking at my card that I already made to make sure that's all the die cutting we need to do. And I believe that's it. So let's bring up our die cut machine. And I'm going to open this up, grab my plates for die cutting. And I'm going to lay this in. I'm going to lay this at a little bit of an angle. I'll come up closer that way so I can get both of these on here. Lay that over and then just go ahead and crank this through. And then we can take those off. This is going to be for our sentiment. Love those stitched shaped dies. They're so pretty. And they also, if you wanted to cut a circle out of something, and you'll see that on this, it has the stitch line on the piece that cuts out as well as the piece that you cut it from. So see, you have that stitched line. Love that. Now this piece, I would just save this for another card. The colors that I chose was the Mossy Meadow and the Calypso Coral. And I kind of struggled whether I wanted to do Cajun Craze. It's a little darker, but I thought it would make the card too dark. So I went with the Calypso Coral. All right, we got those pieces cut. So now the next thing we need to do is cut a window sheet. And Stampin' Up! Has window sheets, and they are basically acetate. And let me pull a piece of it out and I'll show you exactly what it is. It's a very clear plastic sheet. This cuts really super easy. And we're going to cut this piece at 3 by 3 as well. We want it to be the same size as this. So I'll lay this in. And I think I'm going to cut it this way. So I'm going to line it up at 3. And then turn it and cut it at 3. Now remember, anytime you're using window sheets, your adhesive will show, so you want to make sure that your adhesive is going on the back of your project. This is going to stick down right back here, just like that. I like to use tearing tape for this, so I'm going to pull out my tearing tape. And I have an old block that I use. This isn't a Stampin' Up! Product. This is just a sharp-edged block. Probably one of my first sets of stamping blocks that I ever got. But it's perfect for using as a guide for cutting your tape. So I'm going to come in right about there and just tear that off. Then I'm going to come down on this side. Just like that. And give it a tear. You can do this with your fingers, but I think it just leaves a much neater cut when you do it using the block. There we go. And then you can varnish this. And then we're just going to take your pick tool and just lift up your adhesive or lift up the backer tape and pull those off. And you can see that tape is very, very sticky. All right, so now we're going to put our window sheet down. You want to kind of rub it off. You might even want to use a microfiber sheet and just kind of wipe it so it doesn't have any smears or anything on it. And then you just want to lay it down where it will catch in that adhesive. Just like that. Now we have our window. Now the next thing we want to do, and this is going to be my top and this is the bottom. I think, yeah, like that. I want to decide how I want to put my adhesive strips down. And I want to run them around my window first. So I'm going to take and pull one off just like that. And I'm going to lay it on the acetate. You don't want it to show. You want it up far enough that it doesn't show. And I need my snips. And I'm just going to snip it there. Then I'm going to come right up and butt against it right there. And bring it down. This is going to create your pocket that's going to hold your sequins and your little shaker pieces. So bring that across there. And I have an extra little piece. I'm just going to stick it maybe right there. And I'm going to pull another piece off. And then this piece is going to run in between these pieces. Just make sure you butt it up because you want these to touch. You don't want those shaker pieces to get out. So make sure you flip it nice and tight in there, just like that. So now we can come back and we can run a piece down the side. And let's put this piece right here. Let's go ahead and put one more piece. One piece across here. Let's do a piece across the top. We'll just butt it up to that one. These don't have to be completely touching like the framework around here. You just want it to be there to give your card that stability all the way around. So I'm going to snip this. And then we'll see if this piece will fit. Like that. And then we're going to use some dimensionals, just some regular dimensionals. And we're just going to kind of fill in a little bit through here, just to stabilize everything. I'll put 3 down here. I don't skimp on my adhesives when I'm making a shaker card. And if you've ever had one fall apart, you'll understand exactly why. Now, the next thing we want to do is we just want to take off of our window here. So go ahead and pull off your pieces of backer off of those strips, just the ones that are framing your window. Then you're going to take your piece and you want to lay this directly over your window. Don't press anything down. You want to turn it over and look at it and make sure that that's what you want. That looks really good. So then I'm going to give it a press. Now the next thing we need to do is go ahead and put your green mat or your other colored mat, whatever color you do yours in, on your white card base. So I'm just going to use some regular glue. That going really good, and then we're going to set this down. Like that. And I'm going to use my bone folder for 2 reasons. I want to crease that card base, and I also want to iron the glue down on the mat. Now you can see that this is going to go on just like that. And look how pretty those colors are together. Isn't that gorgeous? And remember, we're going to be able to put our little happy birthday here. And we're going to cut some of these little flowers like this. I'm going to use the white ones that I've already gotten cut. This was a bouquet that I put together. And I think the only thing we're going to need to do, let's pull these off. I'm just going to give these a snip. Like that. We'll grab this other white one. And this is going to come down like that. And I think I'm just going to use the white and the green. I think that'd be really pretty there. Just like that. Isn't that attractive? We could do our happy birthday under it. Bring them up a little bit and put our happy birthday there. Yeah, I was going to do some texture on here and I got ahead of myself and didn't. It's okay. It's all right. We are going to glue these together. I just have one that came apart. So I'm going to put some glue right there and put that down. So and these were cut from the painted lavender. Y'all know what I did? I didn't put my shakers in. I closed that up and did not put my shaker in. Ah, like I said, when you're talking, it's easy to make a boo-boo, and sometimes that's what happens, especially when we are creating. All right, so let's see. I puffed on it and got a corner of it up, and I think a corner is all we're going to need. Now I'm going to take some of my sequins, and these are retired, and I didn't have any that are current right now, so I'm using some retired ones. These are some different colored, and these are just white. But I'm sure you've got sequins in your stash. And let's put some down like that. We can always fix a boo-boo. And then mesh that back down. I think we did it. I think we did it. And then there is our sequence that makes this a shaker card. Whew, that was close. Okay, that top goes on this one on this one. And okay, now we can take these other backers off. And there's a lot of them. So let's just go ahead and pull these strips off first. It's much easier if you do it all in one strip, but I always like to use up my little pieces. And then we can just come in and pick these off. And now we can take our thicker part of our card, very gently sit it down. And this, you got to be a little bit tedious with it because you want to get it even. Like that. It looks pretty good. So now I have my little spray of flowers. We put those over on this side. And we can do our happy birthday just like that. That'll change it up a little bit and still make it so pretty. So that already had a little glue under it. Now I'm going to grab a little bit more and put right there. I don't want to glue all of these down because I want them to have a little movement. Now let's stamp our happy birthday. And I think for this, I'm going to use the dark Versafine. This is not a Stampin' Up product, but I do love it. It's a pigment ink, and it is always so dark and rich. But you cannot use markers. Your alcohol blends on this, so just keep that in mind if you decide to pick one up. I do have that in my online store, my Craft Room Favorites. And that's separate from my Stampin' Up store. Giving that a good press and then rub it off. See how vibrant that is? So pretty. And then the other thing that we want to do is stamp our butterfly. Let's see, we're going to stamp him on. I think I'm going to stamp him on this piece because I would love to get a little bit of that green. Let's see how our butterfly fares. And we're going to stamp him in the VersaFine too because we don't have to color this because we're letting the paper do the coloring for us. So I'm going to come right here. Got a good press. Oh, that's pretty. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut. Get my butterfly cut out so then I can just go around my edges and fussy cut him out. Like that. And then we can put him right there. I'm not too sure. I don't want to put the happy birthday because we're going to put a bow here. And let's decide what color. This is going to be kind of a rustic look, but these are the 2023 through 2025 in color ribbon. So I have that hardest, and we have this one that is the copper clay. I had to look because I couldn't remember the name. So we're going to take the copper clay. I think that one will work. Now this is almost like a jute. It's not a baker's twine. It is jute. So it's a little thicker. Let's cover this ink up before we make a mess. And I'm going to undo this if I can find my end. If I kept twisting it, I would finally find it. And I'm just going to do a little bunny ear bow. I don't want anything too thick because this is a very thick jute. Cut that right there. And I think I'll cut this one too, just to get that little twist out of it. And we're going to put that right there. So I'm going to use a glue dot. And I'm going to stick that nut right onto the glue dot. Give it a good press. And then pull it off. And we're going to stick that right there. Just to give that like a little finishing touch. And then for this, I'm going to pop it up on our stamping dimensionals. See if I can find them. I know I just had them. Of course, they were where they were supposed to be. I didn't expect that. So we're going to put one there and one right here. Maybe one right there. And we're going to also drop a few of the little sequins on the front of this as well. So we'll put the happy birthday right here. We do need to put this down. Do I want to put this on a dimensional? Why not? We only need one for our butterfly. How pretty. So now I'm going to take those clear or shimmery sequins, and I'm going to take a few and just drop them in the top of my plate or I'm going to grab my take your pick tool, and I want to use my putty end. I'm going to take my glue and I'm just going to barely put a dot. Pick up a sequin and sit it in it. Let's pick up another one. A little tiny bit of glue. Set that down in the glue. Now remember, this glue is going to dry clear, so you don't have to worry about it looking cloudy. Once it dries, it will be clear, and you'll only see the sequin. That's 3. Let's grab another one and put this one right here. Like that. And that's so pretty. I love this card. I think it turned out spectacular, and I am going to trim just a little bit of this, just the tail off of those little flowers there. And is that not stunning? And look at the difference that we got. Here's a good thing about putting them in the cap. You can just put the cap back over and dump them back in. Look at this, the same card done in different colors and how different it looks. I think both are beautiful in their own way. This was so much fun. Now, the only thing I got left to do with this one is to do my inside, and I'll probably use a Calypso coral and a white inside. Just like this one, I used the purple or the Highland Heather and a white. So how cute are those? I think they turned out absolutely gorgeous. Let me know in the comments what you think. And also let me know where you're watching from. Your comments help my channel immensely. It brings up my algorithms. It lets YouTube know that someone is watching my videos and they liked them enough to leave a comment. So I want to thank you for all your likes, shares, and comments. Thanks so much. God bless and keep you. And as I always say in closing, let everything that you do, every action, every attitude, and everything that you say, every word, bring honor and glory to our Lord and Savior, Jesus. He is worthy. So until next time, God bless and keep you. Bye.